Hey guys, welcome back to the Confirm It RM YouTube channel. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Getting ourselves back into another couple minute technicals video here looking at XRP, Bitcoin, but we're starting off with XRP at the moment. We're holding exactly kind of what we had thought. You know, sometimes just it be how it be, as they say, kind of wicking below our trend line. Trend lines are so easy to invalidate, but we like to just kind of just ignore just, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 candles below. It just depends on what trend we're in. We're kind of in this up and down choppy kind of pattern, so I'm just expecting it. It's still a higher low than the previous one right here, so I'm not going to think anything of it, especially right at this point. So right now, keeping that, even if we were to just slightly adjust like this and go across, it's the same thing. It doesn't really change any time frames very much. It just changes it from, you know, June 6th to June 10th, June 15th. It's nothing crazy, but, you know, maybe this is the more validative one because we have more touches exactly at this point. But regardless, we're still in the same trend. We're still holding the same ceiling at 57 cents. We didn't get through it. It got friggin' wrecked, pushing itself backwards, losing all supports, and it's come back down and find support, and nonetheless, it's going to be here at around that 49. I don't expect any lower than that 49. It's just going to be there. So what's going to wind up happening the rest of the week? We're just going to neander. We're just going to neander either in the lower half of this channel for a little bit of time, or we're going to wind up neandering, getting here to the middle, expressing some upwards trend, hitting up here around the 55, and then just kind of coming back doing the same thing until we get to June. And when we get to this point onwards, we will see this move. We will see this larger move ensue. I would be saying up there to around that 67 to 72 probably be more accurate in that regard, but nothing's really changed very much on it. We haven't lost supports. We haven't just absolutely exploded to the downside, you know, falling off a table, black swan, red massive candles. You know, that's not how that's going to really play out, but massive hurdle here around that. Right now, actually, as of today, it's about 56.2 cents. As you can see, is the ceiling that we have here starting in November. Got above it briefly over here in February and March, but now lost it. So flip that. We can get to the upside again. We'll be seeing a ceiling there around 62. But regardless, that's what we're looking at. I'm looking at wishy-washy XRP until June 15th. That's what I'm thinking. So we got a month, I think, in this region. So, but it doesn't, you know, it still doesn't mean that you can't buy, you know, say here and then ride it up for a good 11% gain and then ride it back down for 5%. Even if you wanted to go to the bottom side of the trend later in time, still about 5 to 7%. So regardless, it's there, guys. But who's to say it doesn't just come up to, like, you know, May 26th and decide to fly out? I don't know. There's always some sort of catalyst that could do that. But that's just my thought process. We will play it by ear. Now getting ourselves back into Bitcoin. Does it shock you? Does it shock you to see Bitcoin hit top of our parallel channel, then come back down to the middle of it for a retest? I don't think so. That's kind of exactly what we were talking about in the last video. We were talking about getting ourselves to the upper half of that channel, really breaking through it and seeing ourselves just absolutely send it. And we said if we would have saw ourselves up there around that 68, 69,000, probably retesting there around that 69, because that's just how it is. That's where our Fibonacci is. But regardless, got absolutely stomped out there at that 65 at a 0.5 and came back down for support on a 236. So what do we expect to be happening? So I would expect if we're able to hold here around $60,000, we're going to be seeing a steadily accumulative pattern, which I would be seeing something more like, if we were to grab some trend lines, do something more like this. It might be a little hard to do that, but even if you were to consider it a falling wedge, something more like that, you'd be seeing continuation out of it, which would be something more like if you were grabbing this and you were going to grab the top side of this, which would be right there, grab that right here to here, you'd be looking at something more like, you know, around at 69,000 again if it were to break out around this region. But let's just get rid of that for now. We don't need all these silly willy lines. We drew a lot, kind of giving ourselves some scenarios just in case Bitcoin had decided to break through trend. But regardless, you see, we're coming back down to the middle of the region. Just hit the top, came back down to the middle. So for a continuation, what we're going to want to see is Bitcoin obviously hold this 60,000, 60, actually no lower than 60, I believe 6,200. So a little bit lower than that. Came actually almost to the exact T right in the center. Wow. Yeah, coming right down to the center and just bouncing up slightly. So we do have some sort of falling wedge, like not wedge, but kind of like parallel coming out of this. So that's not terrible to see. We have ourselves, like a channel like this. Yeah, you have your ascending, then your parallel, and then your ascending going upwards afterwards. But that really depends on, like I said, how it holds right now. So what we're going to want to see for Bitcoin over the next couple days, or actually I say day and a half too. So over the weekend, because today is Friday, over the weekend, holding ourselves above 60,000. I would say above the middle of this channel. Otherwise, if we lose the middle of this channel, we're seeing a sharp decline. Wabamo, right down to the bottom there, around 54,000, and that is almost a guarantee. And I will say that if we lose the middle of this, it will be an almost guarantee. It's going to fall to the bottom side, which you're looking at from this point in the day. You're looking at around a freaking 6.5 to 10% down, 6.5 to 9, and you people would be getting a nice discount on Bitcoin. But if we're able to hold the middle of this region and kind of give ourselves a nice steady upwards price action, because we've fallen through all moving averages. If we hold this right here in the center, you can just see that. We're gonna want to see. Let's see. Let's grab buy the low. We're hitting right there. So right now we're kind of just teetering on. It looks like we're teetering on. So 60,000. Yes, I was right. If we wind up losing 60,000, we're gonna fly to the downside. So that's on this overall trend here where we couldn't break through. So we need to really hold 60,000. Hold 60,000. We'll get ourselves back up to 62, 63 all subsequently. But if we want to go off our very, very short term, we'll give ourselves just a high to a low. Let's see. I would say right here. So with that, we're going to want to get above 61. We really start to turn around once we get around at 62.8. So let's just see how it goes, guys. Get ourselves above 62.8. We can see ourselves push up to that 64.5, up there to around that 65. But otherwise, between 61,200 and 60,000, that's where we're going to be kept between. So if we're going to kind of give ourselves a benchmarker right there, we're going to be kind of kept in this region. And I say once we break below it with conviction, unfortunately, it will not be pretty. So even here, if we go to the 1 hour, yeah, same sort of things. It looks like it's pretty overextended on the downside. I mean, we could get a little bit more of a push and get like a slight wick downward, as you can see from our past history. We could do that, but we already had our extreme fall over here on the first. We had it once. The retests never look that much the same. We've already had such a flush the past couple times. So I'm going to be weary on seeing a move like that to the downside. I mean, like I said, it might get a wick or two below, but we're going to look for conviction with the move if we're going to wind up playing it to the downside, because say if we get an actual conviction here with a couple actual candles that actually give us, the indication that we're going to push lower, then we can slide in for a short, and then get an additional 5 to 6% to the downside. But it's all contingent on what those candles look like when it comes time for it. Can't just predict it then. But right now, what we want to see for Bitcoin is actually holding inside this region that I just highlighted, just right here, over the weekend and on Monday, keeping us right here, because that would be what we would need to see. I mean, we have quite a bit of a gap here on the RSI between a short and longer term RSI to really fill in before we wind up getting ourselves a kind of a push backwards. If you were to zoom in here, you can see we pushed back down, and now we're kind of sort of climbing back up. So you'd probably see it up here to around that 61.2, and then we'd see our downside getting back down to the bottom of this trend here around 60,000. But if we can actually break through it, we'd actually have a nice little continuation, probably getting ourselves up there to around the 62.3. But hope you guys are having a good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. I appreciate every single one of you. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. And I'll see you guys in the next one.